How's it going, guys?
Very good. Not too bad.
Good. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves quickly for those of you that uh, those of you, the people out there that don't know you guys. How's that?
So my name is Tom. I am pretty much one of the techs here at Amped, do a lot of the national operations stuff. And then this is Eric next to me.
Hello. I'm also do a lot of that stuff except tech.
Yeah. So yeah, we're excited to be here, excited to be with you guys. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, we've been doing the live show for quite a while. Sort of felt like it was just kind of getting stale. Everybody asked the same questions every day, so I thought it would be fun to get some different people from the industry on and just very free form, just kind of talk about whatever people want to talk about, whatever you guys give you guys an opportunity to kind of talk to our customer base and let them know what you guys are doing, what events you're going to be at, stuff like that, and just hang out and have a good time. Let's see whether we got any questions or comments here.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Joshua says, "Great ATF trauma in the house." Hi, Tom.
Oh, what's up, guys?
Casper says, "That's a weird beer, Rich." You are correct. So traditional is I drink a beer while we do this show. I have a roughly 1-month-old baby, and I haven't been sleeping very much. And had a bunch of other stuff going on as well. So trying to stay awake right now. I literally was talking with one of my guys. Hey, you guys would like this. We're getting forged lowers running again.
Oh, great.
So one of my guys was getting the program set up, and I was just sort of checking, making sure he knew it and had everything he needed to get it done. I was like literally falling asleep standing there talking to him. I was so out of it. So let's see. Any thoughts on making a all-in-one HPA? I think he means sniper. He says super, but I think he means sniper, like you did with the MTW. Why don't you guys give me your thoughts on that? Because that is actually something that I've messed around with. If I'm being honest, I have quite a bit of a design sort of worked out.
Okay.
I'm not sure how popular it would be.
So from the custom builds that we do, I know that the sniper platform is greatly advanced by using HPA. You don't got to worry about the sear. You don't got to worry about any of that stuff.
Yep.
So I think an all-in-one would be really cool because a lot of times out of the box, most of these, like, a TM VSR 10, they're already trying to upgrade that. So an out-of-the-box solution for snipers, I think would be pretty good for the market, especially an HPA one. And a lot of times what I say to people on our lives is if you're trying, that we get asked a lot, AG versus HPA. And I said, if you're doing a DMR, a sniper role, or an LMG role of any type, HPA is immediately the way you should probably be going.
Yeah.
So I definitely think an out-of-the-box solution would be really cool.
I agree.
So,
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think the clientele is definitely there. That's like definitely a formula that works very well with those who snipe.
Yeah.
People that reach out.
The pushback I've gotten from some people. Actually, one of them was Kicking Mustang. He was down in South Africa when we were down there, and sat down with him a bit. And I know he's kind of controversial on the interwebs, but really nice guy in person. He's super nice guy. And his sort of pushback on that was, well, actually, he said two things. He said, one, because I asked him, have you played with the MTW at all? Have you messed with it? And he was like, I actually don't like it because it makes it too easy. He's like, it's not even fun anymore. Like I want there to be more of a challenge. I was like, okay, I mean, whatever, do your thing. But then his pushback on the sniper platform was, and one of the other guys that say also does sniping there sort of said the same thing, is they like sniping because it's just so simple and there's nothing to it. Like from a technical, like they just with the spring sniper, they don't have to think about a gas supply. They don't have to think about it. They just pick the gun up and go put BBs in and go play with it. And that was sort of their pushback, was like, I don't really want to, even if there's no batteries, even if it's just all mechanical, like then I have to think about a gas supplies, and I don't really want to deal with that. So I just,
I think for the average, and it'd be really cool if we had our resident like sniper guy in the office, Ryan. He left a little earlier today, but from me doing a little bit of DMR stuff with my VSS and doing a little bit of bolt action play a few years ago, I really think it comes down to the two groups of people that you kind of have doing sniping. You have the guys who are kind of building it out themselves, trying to build their kit, build a ghillie suit, be very into the role of sniping. And I can see them being like, it's with kicking Mustang basically being like the MTWs it makes it too easy. Like you could just pick it up and go, because that is the really cool thing about the MTWs. But at the same time, where they like to tinker, they like to build their kit out. And I totally get that and appreciate that. There's the other side of the market that is, I want to just go grab a gun. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to think about it too much. I just want to be able to go and snipe people.
Yeah. And it is easy for the tinkering type of people to forget how difficult it is when you're learning the stuff that is really simple to them, because they've done it, they've done it 50 times, and it's like, it's nobody that's, you do this, and this, and now it works perfectly. Yeah. And, they forget that, the poor dude that, is brand new to this. Yeah. That's total, like, that's so, I mean, we run into the same thing sometimes, because, we run into it with, really basic stuff about HPA in general.
Yes.
Like, because, I have to go back and think, wait, when I was like starting to design these systems, like I have an engineering background, and I still had to like sit down and think, like learn and really figure out, okay, the tanks and regulators and line, how do they all work? And I need what regulator to go with what tank. And like, that was like, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it took some work to figure all that stuff out. Yeah. And somebody, now we've done it for so long that we just like take it for granted and forget to like explain the basics. And I think it's really easy for those of us that do a lot of this to forget how daunting really basic stuff can be sometimes.
It's really funny when I get a custom build from a younger player who's like, kind of just like, I just want to jump in. I just want to have the next level and not have to worry about my gun. And it's really weird when I'm talking to somebody like that on the field who's like, thank you so much for building this thing. It works great. Like I can just go and play. This is super awesome. And then you have the other side of our customer base where it's like, I want this crazy complicated thing because I've been playing for a while and I know what I want, but I don't exactly know the technical side of how to put it together.
Yep.
And so the out of the box solution for snipers, I think would definitely make sense in the market.
I think it definitely, like, the kicking Mustangs who want the super niche challenge that's heavily outweighed by those who just want to be able to pick it up and go.
Yeah, and that's always been my thing, I guess, when we're designing products. Because actually, I had we had our sort of quarterly, monthly meeting with everybody, and we've hired quite a few new people recently, and so one of my questions to them was, what is it that we sell? Which sounds like a trick question, but I was like, it's not. It's really not a trick question. Like, this isn't a trick question. I'm like, what do we sell? And of course, some people sort of say, well, like airsoft guns, and my point was to differentiate between. I just realized, guys, you'll love this. I just realized that I have this. I like put this freaking thing on because it was laying in front of me.
It's not even plugged in. Cool.
It happens. That's okay.
Speaking of technical difficulties, anyway.
I mean, the audio sounds good.
Yeah, we have the sort of little clip-on mic on the camera. So, but my point was differentiating. We make airsoft guns, right, and engines and regulators. That's what we make. But what we sell is having fun playing airsoft.
Yeah.
right? Because that's always been, our sort of selling point is that, the big problem with the sort of, heritage technology within airsoft is that it gets in the way of having fun playing airsoft. Right? Because, your gun breaks down, this happens, stuff doesn't work. And, so something that's simple and high performance and reliable, and you can just pick it up and play with it, helps you have more fun playing airsoft. Because, everybody's had that experience of being, all pumped up for the big game and, been planning for it for months, and you get there and an hour into the game, your gun breaks down. And it's like, and it ruins the whole thing, right? I mean, yeah, you borrow a gun from somebody else and you play the weekend and you get by and it's fine, but it ruins the whole experience, right? You didn't have
fun. You want
fun.
to use your gun at the game
Right,
you wanted to go to.
Right. I put this together. I picked out exactly what I wanted. I had my stuff on it, and now it's busted. And that just so what we sell is a user experience. What we make is airsoft guns. How we enable that is airsoft guns. But I think there is. I do think that more out of the box solutions is the way the industry is going. Now, on the flip side of that, the thing we've run into is that for so long, it has been very rare for out of the box guns to be really high performance and competitive. That we now run into the issue that we can't convince people to just play with the gun the way we built it. Like, just try it. If you play with it for a while and you want to experiment with something different, that's fine. But we get people all the time that buy an MTW, right? And they already have and they never shoot it. They've already bought a new barrel, a new hop up, a new this, a new that, and plan to put all this stuff in. And so honestly, more often than not, they end up making it worse. Sometimes, more often than not, they end up making it worse.
How often do you deal with that?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Right? And it's I try to, you want to be nice to people because I get it. And people, the industry has trained people that you have to upgrade right away.
Yes.
But and I get it that a lot of people have some tech. They've built some guns. They've done some stuff, and maybe they've had some success. But the guys I have building these guns, I guarantee you have put together many, 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 many more guns than you have. Yeah. They have built many, many, many more hop-ups and barrels than you have, which doesn't mean that you can never improve on it. But you should probably really, really know what you're doing before you start trying to.
I'm going to say to the live audience that is with us right now, what I think I said to you when we visited your factory, and that I continue to say to anybody who asks about getting an MTW is, if any of you have wondered or thought about, how a airsoft gun is made or the process that goes into how it is made, or you think of your local technician or your local shop, is probably what people are picturing. This is, this little plywood crate is their shop and where they work and everything. And there's a million parts spread all over the place. I'm definitely not talking about my own desk right now. And versus what you have is closer to when I worked at a vitamin factory.
Sure.
Is a high performing, high quality production level facility that is nonstop, constant QA checks, constant quality control, constant redoing of a gun if it's not correct, putting it so many thousands of rounds down your giant internal range that you guys have. It is by far one of the most sophisticated outfitters that I've ever seen. And it's really hard for me to tell somebody that, oh yeah, MTWs, I don't know why you wouldn't go with one, because they are very well manufactured. And I'm fairly impressed with how you guys do manufacturing. So if anybody is in these comments for whatever reason at a Wolverine comments section and not looking into buying an MTW, go buy an MTW because they are one of the best manufactured guns I have seen today.
And and it's, it's one of those things that, like, I'll be the first to tell you, like, we still make mistakes.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we make mistakes. We have to fix it. Like, stuff happens. And I tell people all the time, like, because people are like, well, can't you, can I improve the performance if I upgrade this and upgrade that? And the answer is always, well, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. Because, if I'm being honest, when we're doing production, because we make quite a few guns, we need a solution that performs at a very high level very consistently.
Yep.
Right. That doesn't mean it is the highest possible performance solution, right? Because sometimes you have combinations of parts or things that sometimes shoot just like unbelievably good, and sometimes you put them together and they're just utterly terrible.
Yeah.
And like from a production standpoint, we can't have that. So
yeah, you need certain quality control.
Right. We need really high performance every single time. So is it possible that you could find a combination of parts that does better than what we put in there? Sure, it's possible.
Yeah.
But there's a really, really good chance you're going to make it worse before you get better. Like, a really good chance. And we spend a lot of time. We really should do more probably on like showing the processes that we use to like make guns. Because I don't think people realize the stuff that goes into making one of these. Like, I don't think they really appreciate what we do. Like, we don't just slap it all together and pull the trigger a couple times and make sure that it's shooting. By what that we mean, it went bang bang bang. Like, there, every gun gets assembled, every gun gets inspected, it gets range tested. There's specified energy limits that it has to be shooting within those energy limits. We range test it, make sure that the groupings are good. If there's any question about it on the indoor range, we take it outdoors so we can shoot it at longer range and make sure that it's, it's actually good at long range.
Yep.
There's all, and everything's serialized and documented, and we have any gun that we've ever made, we know who bought it, we know what the notes that were put on it when it went through quality control, if any parts had to be replaced, if anything was reworked. We really should do more on that.
Please make a video explaining the craziness that you guys, like, the quality control level you guys have compared to, I feel like, a lot of other just products in the industry is insane. Please just do a video so I can actually just be like, please just look at what they do.
Yeah, we really should. I'm sure Brandon's listening. So Brandon, you need some more fun video ideas. Maybe we can do something with that. Let's see whether we got any more comments on here.
Yes.
Tom, Andrew wants to know when you're going to rip your shirt off.
Probably not this time.
Okay.
That was a whole thing.
Damn it.
Yeah, that was a whole thing, and it's just nonstop now.
Okay, gotcha. I missed that one. Let's see. I missed a comment. Devin says we'd love an OEM HPA sniper. And then later on, he said, especially if you do a 33 gram in the body implementation. So speaking of 33 grams, what is your guys' take on that? Because it's my opinion that the 33 gram stock is probably the most underutilized for what it should be solution in terms of sort of air supply. I think there are way more people that would be really happy with that solution that aren't using it. But I'd love your guys' take on that.
So, I mean, for me personally, I run multiple different air stock systems in all the guns that I have, and a bunch of the guys at the shop. I get about, out of the 12 gram, I get about, I think it was like 150 shots for a very tuned system, like a very air efficient system. And so a 33 grams is about 3 times that. So you would get about 450 shots, which if you're using 100 round mid caps or 120 round mid caps, that's a ton if you're at a
battle
milsim.
load. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much that's just under a battle load at a milsim, or it's definitely enough to get you through a decent, like 2 firefights.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you pop it out and you move. I really have gotten used to using the 33 grams, and it's almost like it's almost like when you go to an airsoft game and you start off and you think and you're firing a lot. If you're somebody who uses a high volume of fire,
Sure.
you're going to think they're terrible. But as you progress and you move and you kind of start picking your shots more, and you get away from the high cap, and then you get to the EPM 1, and then you go and like, I'm not even using one of these mags,
Right.
and then you go to like a regular EPM, and you're like, I'm not even using one of these mags before the next round starts.
I've been out here for 3 hours and I've gone through 1.5 mags. Like,
Exactly.
That's literally me. Like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Bursting your barrels in spawn won't help.
Yeah, definitely won't help.
So
yeah. I just to me, I feel like the round count is about right. It's enough that a lot of people, you could get away with it just fine. The convenience factor of just having everything on the gun, and then it's not just the round count, but the because the cartridge is larger, the performance through the cartridge is more consistent than a 12 gram.
Yes.
Because the cooldown effects are not as bad. Like most of the time, when I'm running a 33 gram, like you barely notice it's low until like the last 3 shots, and then like all of a sudden it's like, oh well, it could, like, unless you're using it really really fast, the cooldown is like barely there. You just kind of run, and then it's like out, and you replace it.
I just had one of my newer techs do like his first air stock build with a 12 gram, and he was like, he was going through the process, the testing that we do and everything, and he's running through it, and he's like, dude, it keeps jamming up on me, and I have to, and it was with a Kythera, and you have to pull the cord if it jams up.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, how fast were you firing that?
Yep.
And he was like, well, normal, like we would with any of the HPA units. I was like, no.
Yes,
because he wasn't used to the cooldown effect. Yeah. And so it was just like, I had to explain to him, well, it's actually not out of CO2. There's more. It's just freezing up on you too quickly. And now you have to wait for it to build up vapor pressure again from the liquid form. And then you can shoot again. But the 33 gram, you don't notice that at all.
Yeah. You got to be running full auto if you're going to see cooldown on a 33 gram.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be running full auto. All right, a couple more questions. Calvin wants to know, what's the next game you're going to have your trailer at?
So the Zulu. Eric is actually going to be running that event for our trailer. We're going to have Eric, Alex, and Connor going to that. That's up at Zulu 24 in New York. And then we have Sector 7 the weekend after that. Gun Gamers and MSATO the final weekend of July as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Our next huge event's Copperhead.
Yes.
If anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
Which is September, right?
Yes, I believe
first weekend, 4th through the 5th.
Yep.
I've been wanting to get to Copperhead for a really long time, and I still have never made
it. It's definitely worth it.
It's a cool place. And us being from Pennsylvania, the change in scenery is 100%.
I love it out there. I love it out there. Yeah. I've never been to that specific area, but I have family in the sort of high desert area.
Awesome.
It's beautiful out there.
So different.
Let's see. Any thoughts on releasing something like MTW MCX? Couple thoughts. One is that so licensing is a whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap.
No.
So that's one side of things. The other side, though, is sort of we have to sort of play to our strengths within what we can do. We are a domestic manufacturer. We don't have we're not a factory overseas that is able to pump out all sorts of stuff and pay their workers $1 an hour. So we have to kind of play to our strengths, and a lot of those would require a lot of very expensive custom tooling. Because you get into something like the MCX, that's a whole custom body design.
Yeah.
That, either we'd have to go to like a die cast with, which is, not going to have the same quality and durability of an MTW, or, what are we on, getting a custom forging made that we can machine them out of. Like that's really, that's many dollars, and so there's some logistical or sort of financial challenges with that, just because we're trying to maintain a high level of, at least with like our MTW, level products, a really, really high level of sort of quality in terms of the overall build quality. Maybe we'll do a more entry level option at some point. But within the MTW line, at least, we're maintaining this very high level of sort of quality and durability, and achieving that with something that requires a custom odd geometry externals it's difficult to do that in a way that's really delivering high quality to customers. Will Wolverine and ASG make a higher capacity mid-cap magazine for the MTW 9? I doubt ASG will. However, I do know that PTS is working on a mid-cap, which is supposed to be somewhat higher capacity. I don't know the exact numbers on that. They're going to send me samples as soon as they have them ready to go, so we'll see.
They had samples.
They had some samples at SHOT Show, I think, or the like prelim.
Yes, they did. We can talk about that offline.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened.
Yeah.
So there was some stuff happened. Anyway, they're working on updated samples, let's say.
Yes.
And hopefully get us to those pretty quick here. So let's see. So I have people stand on I'm assuming he means me in my ghillie. I use the MTW Forged as my sniper. It really shoots as well as a sniper. Would be cool to have a bolt action sniper Wolverine for LARPing effect.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree. It would be cool. Totally agree. Pick it up and go is exactly why I bought the MTW, and we have 30 plus guns in our house for 3 players. That's a few guns.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I have that many guns, but that's because we have a shop where we have to do stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, not every replacement part is an upgrade. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a very, very good, wise thing to say.
That is a very good way to put it. Let's see. Are the Forged coming back? Yes, they are. We are actually getting the machining on the new batch of Forged receivers. So just so you know, I actually don't even know what we did. As we're getting ready to transition to relaunching the Forge sort of on a full scale, we did an inventory and we had enough to push a few out, just a handful. So we built out a handful more, and I think a couple dealer. I honestly don't know who got just a couple. So if you look really carefully, you might find them. But probably early this fall is what we're thinking for actually having Forged relaunched. It'll have some of the new, some of the changes we've made. So the receiver tensioning screw, the retaining screw for your rear takedown pin detent, stuff like that will be coming with the new version. Brandon says we've all had that smile on our face wiped off by an upgrade giving worse performance.
Yeah.
Devin says he ran an entire milsim with a 33 gram, approximately 500 shots on a single cartridge. Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Depending on what energy you're running, and what your barrel setup is, that's about right. Let's see. Anthony says hi from the UK.
Hello.
Brandon says, keep those dirty words out of your mouth. Die casting. I know. But I'm just saying that's like what you'd have to do. So here's a fun one.
Oh, there it is.
The AK?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the tooling requirement the reason why there's no AK? Sort of. It's related. So AK receivers are typically stamped, which once you have the equipment and the setup to stamp is a really, really cheap way to make stuff. It's just, once you have the equipment to do it, stamping stuff is crazy inexpensive. It's why it's used for all sorts of mass production. The problem is the equipment to do it is really, really expensive. I actually talked to a stamping company that stamps actual AK receivers, and they told me to get not even the equipment to do it, to get the dies, to have them stamp receivers to our specification, which would be similar to an AK, but just a little bit different.
Yeah.
The die cost would be about $250,000.
Holy, oh God.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now if you're making, if you're Russia or China and you're making millions of AKs, you go $250,000. That's not,
Yeah.
Because then once you have it, you can make a receiver for almost nothing. But if you're planning on making thousands, not millions,
Yeah.
well, that's a whole different story. So, we could theoretically in the future do an AK, but it would almost certainly have to be a milled receiver, which there are milled receiver AKs. But it would almost certainly have to be something there that sort of plays to something that we can produce in more moderate volume at a reasonable cost. The alternative would be to work with like an existing manufacturer of airsoft AKs. The problem there is, get an E&L body or something, right? And and retrofit it, but then is it really an MTW? You sort of go, okay, well, what is an MTW then? Like, does it actually work with all the systems, and is it actually modular, or are you just calling it an MTW? So, I'm not
Sounds
sure
like a ship of Theseus dilemma.
Yeah.
What was that?
It sounds like a ship of Theseus dilemma.
Yeah, it's so. I think if we really want to make an AK MTW, it would have to be a milled receiver. It would have to work with at least the majority of the existing sort of MTW modules. So it would need to be we'd have to have a way for it to take the air stocks, stuff like that. If we're really going to call it an MTW AK, otherwise it's just going to be an HPA AK.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
What's your guys' take on this? Why not take the M4 platform, but so why not make what's the ARs that shoot AK mags?
Crytek makes the airsoft one, I think.
What's it called? SR12, SR47, SR47.
Yeah, it's like an SR47. Yes.
Yeah, which is a real gun.
Yes.
People either love or hate them. Where do you guys fall on that?
I can tell you right now, they are one of the slowest moving guns that we sell.
I don't think we sell them anymore.
I mean, we KWA has the Ronin 47.
That's its own thing, though. I think
that definitely, like he's kind of saying though, it's its own thing, kind of.
Yeah.
That moves. The actual SR47s in airsoft, they're like a niche of a niche that doesn't even really exist.
I actually think it's super cool, but I don't think anybody would buy it. Like,
I think the idea is really interesting.
Yeah.
And the
AK Pure. The problem is most of the AR guys go, "Oh, that's cool," but I don't actually want to buy one. And then the AK guys hate it. They're like,
you destroyed it.
Yeah, like this is so nobody ends. You get some people that think they're cool, but like they're cool because they're close to an M4.
Yes.
So I'm just going to buy an M4, and then the AK guys don't want anything to do with it.
Absolutely.
So it is what it is. I think it's kind of a neat thing. I love the story behind it, right? Which is that all these the guys over in the Middle East, the service guys, basically were like if we're running ARs, we run out of ammo. We run out of mags. We can't do anything. Whereas we're running around and there's AK mags everywhere. We want a gun that has the sort of the battery of arms that we're used to, but they can accept AK mags. Okay, that's super cool. So it's I don't know how true that story is, but that's the story behind it.
From a buying perspective, that makes sense. There's an actual use case.
Yeah. But for airsoft, it's like, well, why do you like
Yeah.
now in airsoft, there's definitely not AK mags laying everywhere. There's M4 mags laying everywhere.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like, your argument here is not very strong.
Yes.
AK-12 is a good model for MTW AK airsoft with it. AK-12?
So the AK-12 is the more modern version of the AK.
Yeah.
What the PPV uses
I thought the
primarily.
AK-12 was the 12 gauge version.
No, that's like the Sega.
Sega 12.
AK-12 is a
Yeah.
standard rifle right now.
Yeah, the AK-12 is pretty much the modernized version of an AK. It has a beefier receiver. It actually does have a buffer tube on it as well. It's like a mock buffer tube, though. It still has the
Yeah.
same type of movements and everything. The RPK-16 is based off the AK-12. And so in theory, I can't remember if the real ones are stamped or not, but they do use a heavier material than traditional AK-47s and stuff.
A little beefier too.
Yeah.
In design.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that would like a 308 mag MTW. Where do you stand? I don't know who that's to, but where do you guys fall on a 308 MTW?
I think it goes back to what I was saying about the OEM bolt action too. I think HPA is a perfect fit for DMRs, and I think an out-of-the-box solution for somebody who's trying to get like high precision DMR build, I think would be awesome. I think with you using ASG mags for your MTW9, you could use the SR25 G&G mags because they have a little detent on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. MTW or M110 MTW full send, please. Ian says the AK-12 is the new Krinkov captured by Ukrainians from the Russians. They're milled now.
Yeah, interesting. So that would fit with what you're trying to do.
I have to take a look at it. All right. So we're going to show something here today that we haven't shown yet.
Okay.
So that is this guy.
Oh, sweet.
So this is the one of the first packaged Storm Cat 5 regulators.
Oh wow.
Sweet.
Have some fancy new packaging with like a magnetic closure.
Yeah,
has like a foam insert, so you get your regulator there and your patch shown when you open it up. Yeah. These are actually starting to get packaged now.
Sweet.
So time is coming very soon. We are still we are producing the and packaging the pilot batch. We are still just waiting until we have the full batch in hand because I don't want to start shipping them and then 2 days later say sorry, we're out of stock for an unknown period of time because we don't know when the next batch is coming in.
Yeah.
So because the pilot batch is just a few hundred and we don't want to I don't want to open up sales and then not know when keeping tabs on our machine shop for that, and as soon as they have confirmation that hey, the batch is ready to go, we'll go ahead and release these. But super cool with this packaging. We're doing a bunch of packaging updates.
Awesome. Looks good. Looks really good.
Felt like it was time to go to something a bit more fancy and professional. But these are super slick. Really like.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
Reminds me of like an Apple product. Like
yeah,
would open up like an Apple.
Yeah, that's
watch.
kind of the goal. It's go with stuff that's like real. Feels real premium and just kind of has a very modern look to it. Apple or any high-end phone is sort of what we were modeling this stuff after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like that. Excited about that. You guys are the first to see it today.
Awesome.
Let's see. Devin says the G&G mags are phenomenal, and I've never had them break or malfunction.
There you go.
Let's see. Wait, there's a new hop-up for the MTW. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. There's actually a couple companies now making hop-ups for the aftermarket hop-ups for the MTW, which, again, absolutely no offense to those companies because I have talked with both of them and I have a lot of respect for them. But, you're taking your gun's performance in your own hands as soon as you start disassembling it and messing with it.
Especially something as critical as the hop-up unit
Yep.
and hop-up setup, it becomes a giant hairball of trying to figure out exactly how to get that thing tuned.
Yeah. Well, and the thing we're having to sort of make some adjustments to now is like how we handle warranty.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have some legitimate warranty, but we get a lot of stuff that is people like, well, my gun just isn't shooting right.
Yep.
And it's like, well, you've taken it apart and changed all sorts of stuff. Like, I can't warranty that your gun, once you disassemble it and change stuff, is going to. And that, with more and more aftermarket parts being available for the MTW, that's becoming more so. And we've always been really, really lenient in terms of helping people, but we're having to tighten down a little bit. Just like, look, if you want to send the gun in, for a nominal fee, we'll return it to stock form and we'll have it shoot. But it's like, the other thing is they'll send us, they'll want us to make their aftermarket parts work.
Yes.
And we're not a custom shop. Like, that is not, we're like, if you want us to take it and put it back in stock form and make it shoot in stock form, okay, we can do that. But like, I'm not going to install and tune your aftermarket stuff, not because it can't, or like some of it works great. That hop up may work great. That's fine. But like, I can't have I can't be paying my guys to do that, especially because most of the time, you're considering this a warranty and you're not even paying for the service anyway. So
yeah, we deal with that a lot.
I'm sure you guys deal with that.
We deal with that a lot. And us being a custom shop, it kind of is a little bit like, okay, well, we can do that. But it's also on like, well, I've modified the gearbox so much, or I'm using this different brand gearbox with this different brand lower. Can you just do all this stuff and make it work? And I'm like, you're taking 5 different brands of things and telling me just do it.
Yep.
That's not really how that works.
Well, and people get, that's sort of one of the, people then get surprised when either our stuff or aftermarket stuff doesn't work with 100% of other aftermarket stuff.
Yes.
And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but that's just not reality. All hop-up rubbers are not made to, I hate to break this to you guys, but like, yeah, they all claim to be, exactly the same in terms of compatibility. They're not. Like, they're different thicknesses, the lips are different lengths, there's different geometries, different nubs, different mounts, and not all of them work. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that hop-up rubber or that barrel or that housing. It just means they don't work together. Yes. And that, you change one of those parts out and it may work fine now, right? And you take that part that didn't work and you put it with a different combination of parts and it may work perfectly fine. But like, and even from the same manufacturer, sometimes you get, you get, some manufacturers are better than others, but you'll get variation within the same manufacturer, the same run of parts in terms of how stuff performs and how it works. And that's just the reality of dealing with anything that's aftermarket. Sorry to harp on that forever, guys.
No, you're fine. You are totally fine. I feel you on that.
we spend so much time on that stuff. It's crazy. Like, it's.
I mean, how many times have you got a custom build and then the custom build goes out and somebody just rips it apart?
Oh yeah, I think within at least the first 3 days to a week, most of my builds have been modified in some way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had a guy. We had a guy one time on that got an MTW, threw an ever living fit on the forum. I claimed that it just wasn't working. It wasn't shooting. It wasn't, whatever.
Yep.
And he changed some stuff already and whatever, but he was really mad. So, you know what? Just send it to us. We'll fix it. We'll make it work, and, no worries.
Yeah.
Got it in, didn't charge him a thing, got it shooting great, took a video of it shooting. sent it to him, all that kind of stuff, sent it back to him. And literally within 1 hour, if I remember correctly, of getting the delivery confirmation, he had posted another video on the forum ranting about how terrible this was and it wasn't working. And he had already changed a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, well, I don't know what you want from me. Like, this is not like, I can't, so, and
I definitely feel how you felt about that many times.
It's like blaming me for it. I'm like, this is not my fault. Like, I showed you exactly what the gun did. Everything was good. You changed a bunch of stuff. I can't help that. And then we had another one. This was years ago. But this guy was working on a P90. It was like a cyber gun or SEMA P90. I can't remember. It was one of the older P90s. And he was trying to do a conversion, which admittedly is not the easiest. They were not the easiest guns to deal with in terms of getting them to shoot real well. And he sent me a message and basically said, sent us an email and said, I can't get this to shoot, yada, yada, yada. I've tried all these things. And I said, okay, well, just send me the whole gun. I'll take a look at it and figure out what's going on. Get it in. It doesn't even have the stock gearbox in there. It has like a 3D printed shell holding the engine, like all this different stuff. I was like, okay, and I spent a bunch of time working through it, trying to get it to work right. Got it shooting okay. Not great, but it was okay. It was usable. But I was like, I really want to try something, but I had to order a couple parts to try it. And send him an email and was like, it's shooting okay, not perfect, but it's going to be another week or two until the parts came in. So if you want, I can just send it back to you and you can play with it the way it is, or I'll just keep it and get it back to you after it's done. He said, send it back. So I mailed it back to him. He gets it back and sends me this video just ranting. It won't even feed. It won't shoot. It won't do anything. I literally just took it out of the box and, BBs are just falling out of the barrel. They're not shooting. I was like, okay. And he was like, I want a refund. I was like, okay, you know what? It's against our policy, but I'll give you a refund. I'll give you 100% refund, even though you didn't buy the engine from us. You didn't buy any, I'll give you a refund. I'll take it back, but you have one condition. You're going to ship the gun back to me. And I'm going to see what happened. Got it back, and he had clearly disassembled it and messed with stuff because there were parts that I had put in there that were not in there anymore. Yeah. And so I still gave him his refund, but I was like, just so we're clear, you're full of crap. Like this is garbage. Yeah. So, let's see if you guys sold full assembled hot barrel bucking assemblies by your people. I bet people would buy those, myself included. Yeah, we can. Yeah. The difficulty there is there's not really a test other than to shoot it to be 100% sure that you got it right.
Yes.
There's just there, now my guys have much higher success rate probably than the average person. Yeah. In terms of putting stuff together and having it work in terms of hop up in barrels. But there's no actual guarantee until you put it in a gun and test it that hey, you didn't screw something, you didn't accidentally tear the inside of the rubber a little bit when you were installing it. So now you've got a loose edge and it's catching BBs. Stuff happens. So it's not a terrible idea, but we'd have to figure out how to actually test them. Let's see. What's the next game you guys are playing? Or maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to tell people that. If see, I go to games secretly and don't tell people I'm going to be there because I just want to play and don't want to. Everybody. I also go to games and see everybody, but when I want to play, I just want to go play.
There's certain games that I like. I'll go and I just plan on working the trailer the whole time, right? Yeah. And then I'll put on my whole outfit that I'm going to play in, and a lot of times people won't recognize me because I have a very full face mask set up and they won't know it's me, and I want that, like you're saying. And then there's times where I'll kind of just go out on a very casual civilian setup that I know people are going to notice me. And it's just kind of to walk around, see the field, because I haven't seen that before.
Right.
Most of the time when we go, and you can talk about this a lot because you end up playing a lot at the events too, is when we go to an event, we try and set aside a little bit of time just for us to go out and play, get a little bit of break from working the trailer and stuff, and get our guys, some play time in. We will be probably playing at point blank. I know you're running that trip, so you can talk more about that.
Yeah, I mean, usually whenever we don't do air fills, it's a lot easier because then, it's not, people aren't relying on us to be there to fill their tanks.
Right.
So this one specifically, it's an airsoft field, so they have their own compressor there, so we don't actually have to bring one. So which means more play time for us, just because we could, kind of lock up for a couple hours, go play. BBs are, you can buy them during lunch or buy them before you go out. And it's not dire whether you have them or not, because typically you get your hands on BBs no matter what. If you're in a group or whatnot, or you bring enough.
Right.
So it's nice to get out and play. It's
Yeah,
we
I feel like it's important. It's something I make a point. I don't get to play a lot, but it's really, to me, it's important to get some time playing, because it's really, when you're working in the industry, it's really easy to get burnt out on it and just kind of get jaded about everything. And keeping some play time just to remember why you got into this in the first place, is important. But I pretty much have to separate events I work and events I play. I just mentally have a really hard time dealing with, it's partly because I'm not I'm not while I enjoy getting to see people, and I think it's important for me to sort of get to have interaction with customers, it sort of drains me. I'm not super extroverted in that regard, and so after I spend I spent the past 10 hours talking with people and doing all that kind of stuff, I just don't feel like playing. I'm toast. I just want to, so to me, I have to either decide, hey, I'm going to go, and this is going to be a work event, and I'm going to go and actually, be there at the booth, talk with people, interact with people, or this is going to be a play and social event where I'm just going to go play. I'm going to, hang out with people I know, maybe meet up with some guys and just actually have a good time. I struggle to do both.
Yeah, that's a very big balance for us when we go, because for me, there's certain event companies that we go to that it's like, okay, these are the guys who are working it from the shop, but a lot of us in the shop will be like, okay, but we're all gonna go and play, especially like a 40-hour milsim, because that's not really the best setup for us to vend at, because people aren't coming off the field. So those events are a lot more of what we end up playing because we're not vending the whole time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I've wanted to. We still haven't done it, which is terrible. We really should. It wouldn't be that hard to do. We just never get around to it. But I've wanted to do a company, maybe even just rent out one of the local fields for an afternoon and just have everybody go out there and play some CQB, just have a good time, do something like that. But actually it would be difficult because we'd have to get everybody's equipment squared, because not everybody has their own equipment. We have a lot of people that, we have some people that play and we have some people that don't. And so not everybody has their own equipment, and we'd have to get everybody squared away. But it would be really fun just to get everybody out there and just some sort of team building stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Team building is very important.
Let's see. Kyle asked, I'm really looking into getting a sponsorship with Wolverine Airsoft. What do you look for in people to be sponsored? I'll tell you the number one thing from my standpoint, we don't sponsor a lot of people. We're very selective in who we sponsor. And have gotten more selective over the years. I don't know. I don't remember the last time we added a new sponsored player, but it's been a while. We added the One Legion guys. They're the most recent. But that's after knowing them for a long time. The biggest thing, number one requirement, like, is you have to already be using our products. We will not sponsor. Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
there may be some exception, some random exceptions, which we don't really consider sponsored players, where maybe, somebody's a social media personality, and we're not really, but we'll send them something to feature on one of their videos or something. They're not really a sponsored player. But if we're going to have a relationship with somebody, I'm not going to sponsor you so that you can start using my stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm mean. It's not because I don't like you. It's because if you're going to be associated as a rep of our brand, I want you to authentically believe in the brand. If you're going to be telling other people, hey, go buy this stuff, I want it to be something that you're willing to spend your own money on. So that's one thing. There does have to be, a justification in terms of, like, there has to be some payoff in terms of, hey, you have some sort of a following. Usually that's social media. You have some, we can't sponsor everybody that uses our stuff, right? There has to be, if we're going to give, whatever, some discounts on stuff, or, whatever it is, there has to be an incentive to do that, which generally is, hey, you have a social media following, you're able to, promote the product. But we really try to keep it to a minimum. I want people, I think the products generally sell themselves.
Yeah.
And I want people to, I think it's more powerful and it's better when people buy something because they saw it firsthand from somebody who doesn't have any ulterior motive other than they like it and got it themselves to tell them, hey, this is really good. A lot of our people, I don't know how many times I've heard people say, yeah, I bought an MTW after I got shot with one and got mad about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. That's what we want. So we're really selective in sponsoring people. So, but those are sort of the basic requirements that have to be, are pretty much, non-negotiable.
Yep.
What do you guys do as far as sponsored players?
Well, you directly handle that.
So basically, we're never accepting applications. We run it basically on an invite only.
Right.
With us traveling a lot, we get to know a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
So whenever we get to know people and we know that there's somebody that is a friend to the company and somebody that isn't out, like you said, that we never send free stuff out ever. So when we get emails all the time that say, give us a gun, give us a collaboration, and I'm sure you guys deal with this all the time too. And the answer is always
I just started playing Airsoft. Can I get a free gun?
Exactly. We're actually dealing with that right now.
I'll get you a free gun. We just set up a PayPal account. Can you send me a free $1,000?
Yeah. We do that as well. We say, we would love to send you a gun. If you place the order online right now, our shipping team will have it out to you very quick because they're very efficient.
Let's collaborate. You send me this, I'll send you send you that. It's we're all good.
Crazy how it works. But we run it on an invite only system, and we also have like a sponsorship player agreement, which is basically an ethical code of how to handle yourself. So whenever you're observed not handling yourself in a good way, representing us in a negative way, you're terminated. So we're very good with that. We actually don't really care that much about social media. We think it's a poor determiner whether you represent our brand the way we want you to, because we have some really awesome sponsored players that don't have a presence at all.
Right.
Because it's possible for anybody. It's just whether, you become a friend to the company as well as representing the brand we want you to on the field and off.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and that's fair. I mean, I say that, but now that I actually think about it, there's several people that we sponsor that don't have that much of a following. They're just people that we've gotten to know, and
of course,
they're people that have kind of gotten to be friends of the company. So that's fair. That's no, I don't directly handle the sponsored players myself, but let's see. Blackleaf says hello.
Hello.
How's it going, Linus? He's going to be over here. He's coming over for the tech class here in a week or so.
Awesome.
So, yeah. I can't remember. Are you guys coming down for that?
I personally was going to come down to it, except for the way that the timing was going to work out for specifically Gun Gamers and the MSATO game. I needed to be back to run one of the two of those, and it just was not going to work out for me. I already have it noted that I am blocking out that week next year for when you do it, because I really did want to come down, but I unfortunately cannot.
Okay. Gotcha. Let's see. Adam said, from what I see, most MTW owners are borderline zealots in their support for the MTW.
There's a reason for that.
It's the goal. It's, and I appreciate it more than not just from obviously it supports our company financially and let's keep doing what we're doing, but just at a personal level, it's something I've put more blood, sweat, and tears than you can imagine into. And, it just makes me happy when something I've put that much effort into is something that you then enjoy and appreciate it enough to tell people that, enough to tell other people that, hey, you need to get this.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, any final thoughts? We've been doing this an hour. As hard as that is to believe, it has flown by. Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to tell everybody before we wrap up here?
Guys, if you can make it, if you guys are planning on going down to that tech summit or you've been lucky enough to get invited, please go down there. It is a fun time. And also, if you guys can come to any of the events we are at, we'd love to see you guys. And Rich, if you ever do want to make it out to, or you're ever at an event and we do get to see you, please stop by and hang out. We'll stop by and see you too. But thank you so much for having us on,
Absolutely.
dude.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for getting on. Tell everybody else there at the shop we said hello.
Definitely will. Thank you so much, man.
All right, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.